Every breakup advice video tells you the same thing. Ignore her, and she'll come running back. Go no contact. Disappear. Make her miss you. And you know what? Most of you will completely screw this up. Not because the advice is wrong, but because you're doing it for the wrong reasons, with the wrong mindset, and at the wrong time. You think ignoring her is about getting her back. It's not. Let me explain what complete silence after a breakup really does, why most men fail at it, and what actually happens when you do it right. The purpose of complete silence isn't what you think. You're not trying to punish her. You're not playing games. You're not even trying to make her miss you. The real purpose is self-preservation, emotional restructuring. You're performing surgery on your own psychology, removing the tumor of dependency. But most guys treat no contact like a tactical game, believing that if they ignore her for exactly 30 days, she'll magically appear at their door. That's not how this works. The common mistakes men make are predictably and pathetic. Day 3, you're checking her Instagram every hour. Day 7, you're typing messages and deleting them. Day 14, you convince yourself that just checking in isn't breaking no contact. At day 21, you caved completely and send some weak texts like, "Hope you're doing well. Congratulations." You've just reset the clock and proved you have zero emotional discipline. I had a client who lasted 47 days. 47 days of discipline, growth, and genuine progress. Then he saw her post a picture with some guy, not even a boyfriend, turned out to be her cousin, but he panicked. He sent a novel-length text about remembering the good times. She replied with one letter, K. That single letter destroyed 47 days of progress because his silence wasn't real. It was fear wearing a costume of strength. The fear-driven relapse is what kills most men. What if she finds someone else? What if she forgets about me? What if she's already moved on? Here's the brutal truth. She might. She might find someone tomorrow. She might already be with someone. And if your response to that possibility is panic, then you're not ready for this process. Real detachment means accepting that she might be gone forever and being okay with that. The illusion of control is seductive, but destructive. Guys think they can calculate the perfect moment to break silence. If I reach out after exactly 37 days with this specific message, she'll respond positively. You're not conducting a science experiment. You're dealing with human emotion. There's no formula, no perfect timing, no guaranteed outcome. The only thing you control is yourself. And most of you can't even do that. Using silence purely to win her back is like going to the gym just to impress your ex. It's hollow, desperate, and she can smell it from miles away. You're still making her the center of your universe just from a distance? That's not growth. It's reorganized weakness. She still controls your actions, your thoughts, your goals. You've just added physical space between you and the puppet strings. The irrational attachment you're experiencing is addiction, plain and simple. The same brain chemistry as cocaine withdrawal. You're going through a legitimate chemical dependency on the dopamine hits she provided. That's why you check her social media like a junkie searching for residue in the pipe. That's why one text from her sends you into either euphoria or despair. You're not in love, you're in withdrawal. The therapeutic dimension of detachment is what actually heals you. Every day you don't contact her, you're building new neural pathways. You're literally rewiring your brain to not need her validation. This isn't metaphysical, it's neuroscience. But it takes time, real time, not the 3 days you managed before cracking. We're talking months of consistent discipline. Even humiliation avoidance should motivate your silence. Picture this. You send another emotional text. She screenshots it and shares it with her friends. They laugh. "He's still not over me," she says, feeling powerful, and while you're refreshing your phone every 30 seconds, hoping for a reply. That's not love. That's voluntary degradation. The false development arc you build in your mind, ILL, get jacked and she'll regret leaving. I'll make more money and she'll want me back. I'll post photos with other women and make her jealous. Stop. Just stop. If your self-improvement requires a witness to have value, it's not improvement, it's performance. Real growth happens in private, for you, not for her, not for anyone else. Understanding your self-value outside of her validation is the real work. Who are you when she's not watching? What do you want when her opinion doesn't matter? Most men can't answer those questions because they've outsourced their identity to female validation. You've become a reflection of what you think women want, instead of an actual person with independent worth. The emotional detox process is brutal but necessary. The first week, you'll feel like you're dying. The second week, anger kicks in. The third week, bargaining starts. By the fourth, depression hits. But somewhere between week 6 and 8, if you've maintained disciplines, something shifts. You'll wake up one morning and realize she was in tea, the first thought in your head. That's the beginning of freedom. Breaking internal patterns is the actual goal. You're not trying to change your behavior, you're rewiring your own mental habits. Every time you resist checking her profile, you're breaking a stimulus response pattern. Every time you don't react to a memory, you're weakening those neural connections. You are literally rebuilding your brain's architecture through disciplined inaction. Resetting masculine identity through this process is profound. You rediscover who you were before she became your emotional center, that confidence you had before you needed her approval. That assertiveness before you started walking on eggshells, that composure before her chaos became your normal. You're not becoming someone new. You're excavating who you've always been, buried under the rubble of codependency. Letting go as power is the hardest concept for weak men to grasp. You think holding on shows strength. Doesn't. Any fool can cling desperately to something. Real power is opening your hand and letting it fall. Real strength is walking away from what you want most and being okay with never having it. That's not giving up. That's growing up. Through silence, the predictability of emotional manipulation becomes visible. Week 1, she might test you with a hey. Week 2, maybe an accidental call. Week 3, she gets angry real mature, ignoring me. Week 4, she shifts to vulnerability. I miss us. These aren't genuine emotions. They're control tactics. Your silence forces her to cycle through every strategy she knows, revealing her manipulations for what they are. This isn't about judging her. It's about seeing reality without illusion. This emotional resilience training is like military boot camp for your psyche. Every day you maintain discipline, you're building emotional muscle. Every urge you resist becomes a rep. Every wave of craving you survive strengthens your psychological frame. You're learning to withstand emotional discomfort without collapsing. And that skill translates to everything: career, friendships, future relationships. You become emotionally bulletproof. Most men misunderstand the timeline completely. They think 2 weeks of no contact is an achievement. That's nothing. Real rewiring takes months, sometimes years. The depth of change required is proportional to the depth of damage done. If you were together 5 years, 30 days of silence is a joke. You need real time for real change. Strategic patience isn't passive, it's active restraint. Every moment of silence is a decision. Every day of no contact is hundreds of micro decisions not to engage. You're not sitting around waiting. You're actively fighting the war inside yourself. You're not waiting for her to come back. You're waiting for the need for her to die. The misconception about provocations reveals your insecurity. You post thirst traps, fake happiness, strategic look-at-me stories, all transparent acts of desperation. You think you're showing her what she's missing, but you're actually proving that she still controls your behavior. Real indifference doesn't perform. It doesn't broadcast. It doesn't need an audience. It simply exists. Overanalyzing her behavior is another prison. She viewed my story. What does it mean? She liked my friend's photo, but not mine. Is that a message? She changed her profile picture. Is that about me? Stop. Her behavior means nothing. Your interpretation of her behavior means everything about your mental state. You're keeping yourself locked inside your own head while holding the key in your hand. Understanding the difference between real recovery and the illusion of progress is crucial. You can look recovered, new clothes, new routine, new attitude, while still being internally broken. External change without internal transformation is just redecorating a condemned building. Real recovery happens in your thoughts, in your automatic responses, in your unconscious assumptions. That's invisible work, the kind you can't fake. Even during no contact, men repeat emotional mistakes. You're not texting her, but you're texting everyone else about her. You're not looking at her profile, but you're asking friends about her. You're not contacting her directly, but you're living every moment in reaction to her absence. That's not no contact. It's contact with extra steps. Emotional discipline is what this really builds. The ability to feel something and not act on it, to want something and not chase it, to hurt and not seek comfort. This is what masculine strength truly means. Not being emotionless, but being bigger than your emotions, feeling them fully while consciously choosing your actions. The societal epidemic of male emotional dependence is staggering. Entire generations of men now derive their worth from female validation. Your grandfather didn't need a woman to tell him he was a man. He knew it through his work, his integrity, his presence. Millions of men feel worthless without a girlfriend. That's not evolution. That's regression. The online advice culture has made it worse. Some pickup artist tells you to ignore her for 30 days, and she'll come back, and suddenly everyone's an expert. But they don't understand the nuance, the internal work required. Ignoring without genuine detachment isn't power, it's manipulation. And women can sense manipulation like sharks sense blood in water. Every situation is unique. Maybe you were together 10 years and had kids. Your no-contact process won't look the same as a guy who dated for 3 months. Maybe she was abusive. Maybe you were toxic. The healing process differs for everyone. Stop chasing universal rules. Start understanding your specific situation. The lack of self-understanding is why most men repeat the same patterns. You don't know why you chose her. You don't know why you stayed. You don't know why you tolerated what you did. Without that understanding, you'll find another version of her. Same face, different name, and repeat the cycle again. And you'll sit there wondering why all women are the same. They're not. You are. Understanding causality means tracing back the real reasons for the breakup, not the surface-level arguments about communication or dishes or timing. You need to look deeper. Your neediness, her disrespect, your lack of boundaries, her manipulation, the incompatibility you both ignored, the red flags you painted pink. Until you understand the why, you can't prevent the next disaster. Detachment, as spiritual purification, might sound mystical, but it's not. It's practical. You're burning away the false parts of yourself, the parts that crave external validation, that fear abandonment, that mistake attachment for love. What remains after that fire isn't bigger. It's smaller, but it's real, authentic, unshakable. Acceptance of loss as liberation, not defeat, is the paradigm shift. Losing her isn't losing. It's being freed from a prison you didn't even know you were in. Every door that closes opens space for something better. But you can TC the open door if you still pounding on the closed one. Loss isn't subtraction. It's creation of space for addition. The false victory of reunion without interchange is a trap. Suppose she comes back after 2 months, you're ecstatic. You won. But if you haven't changed, you've just restarted the same toxic pattern. Within 6 months, you'll be back in the same arguments, the same emptiness. Getting her back without becoming different is like reinfecting yourself with the same disease you just recovered from. Growth through suffering isn't masochism, it's alchemy. Take emotional pain and transmute it into wisdom. Every moment of resistance becomes fuel for transformation. Every day of discipline builds strength. The suffering isn't pointless, it's raw material for evolution. But only if you use it consciously, instead of wallowing in it. The testing of integrity happens every single day during no contact. Are you who you say you are? If you claim you're done, are you actually done? If you say you don't need her, do your actions match that statement? This process exposes whether you a man of your word or just someone who makes sounds with his mouth. Most men discover they're the latter, and that realization hurts, but it's necessary. Self-refinement after trauma requires conscious effort. Who are you now that you're not her boyfriend? What do you want now that you're not planning your life around her? What matters now that her opinion no longer defines your choices? This isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. You're not discovering something that already existed. You're rebuilding a new foundation from scratch. The long-term mindset shift from reactive to strategic is essential. You stop responding to emotional impulses and start making deliberate choices. Stop living for the next text or dopamine hit and start thinking in months and years. You stop being a passenger in your emotional life and finally become the driver. This isn't about her anymore. It's about becoming someone who never ends up in this position again. Recognizing emotional addiction patterns helps you see the cycle for what it is. The obsessive checking, the rumination, the fantasy reconciliation scenarios. These aren't thoughts, they're withdrawal symptoms. When you recognize them as addiction rather than love, you gain power. You stop obeying the craving and start observing it. Oh, there's the addiction talking again. Becomes your new internal dialogue, not "I need to text her." Experience is the only teacher that matters here. You can watch 1,000 videos, read 100 books, but until you feel the urge and resist it, until you face the loneliness and survive it, until you endure the silence and come out intact, you truly know. Can't think your way to emotional strength. You have to forge it. It's just like a martial artist doesn't learn by watching fights. And a musician, docent master. An instrument by reading sheet music. Emotional mastery comes from practice, repetition, failure, adjustment. You're going to fail at no contact. Probably more than once. But each failure is data. Each stumble teaches you something if you're paying attention. And once you've lived it, you'll see through the surface level teachers. Most people preaching no contact have never maintained it themselves. They're repeating what they've heard, not what they've lived. Real experience has texture, has nuance, patience, and complexity. Fake expertise speaks in absolutes and guarantees. Learn to tell the difference. Another crucial distinction: distancing versus ignoring. Distancing is creating healthy space for growth. Ignoring is punitive silence meant to manipulate. One comes from self-respect, the other from ego. One is about healing, the other is about revenge. Most men think they're distancing, when in reality, they're just throwing an emotional tantrum in silence. Emotional neutrality, not indifference, is the goal. You're not trying to feel nothing. You're trying to feel without being controlled by those feelings. You can still care about her without needing her. You can still love her without chasing her. You can still want her without requiring her. Neutrality isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of choice, despite emotion. Framing rejection as a mirror is one of the most powerful mental shifts you'll ever make. Her leaving didn't cause your pain. It revealed it. It showed you where you were already broken. Your devastation exposes where you've abandoned yourself. Your desperation highlights where you lack self-worth. The breakup isn't the problem. It's the X-ray showing you where the real wounds are. Pain becomes wisdom only when processed consciously. Ask yourself, what is this pain teaching me? What does this addiction reveal about my needs? What does this desperation say about my fears? Pain without reflection is just suffering. Pain with reflection becomes evolution. You choose which one you're experiencing. Internal sovereignty is the ultimate goal. Complete emotional self-rule. No one else's behavior determines your state. No one else's opinion defines your worth. No one else's presence completes you. You become a sovereign nation of one, allied with others, but never dependent. This isn't isolation, it's independence. Acceptance of unpredictability brings peace. You don't know if she'll come back. You don't know if you'll find someone better. You don't know how the story ends, and that's okay. Real control comes from dancing with uncertainty, not trying to eliminate it. Life is unpredictable. Relationships are unpredictable. The only constant you can rely on is your own response. Emotional detachment is strength, not coldness, is often misunderstood. You're not becoming a robot, you're becoming unshakable. You can still feel deeply while remaining centered. You can still care without collapsing. Detachment isn't about feeling less, it's about being controlled less by what you feel. Expectation is the silent killer of this entire process. You're maintaining no contact waiting for her return. You're not practicing detachment, you're just performing emotional theater. Every day becomes about her potential reaction rather than your actual growth. You're physically silent but mentally screaming. That's not space, that's hovering. Freedom through emotional mastery is the true reward of all this. When you master your responses, no one can manipulate you. When you don't need anyone specific, everyone becomes a choice, not a necessity. When you're complete alone, relationships become an addition, not a remedy. This was never about her. It's about reclaiming psychological freedom. Practically, this process requires structure. Delete her number, block her on all social media, remove the photos, the playlists, the memories. This isn't dramatic, it's detox. You can't heal while picking at the wound. You can't detox while microdosing your addiction. Complete separation, or don't bother. The timeline doesn't matter, the transformation does. Maybe it takes 3 months, maybe a year, maybe longer. The clock is irrelevant. What matters is genuine change. Time without growth is just aging. Time with awareness is evolution. The relationship with yourself is what you're really rebuilding. How do you treat yourself when no one's watching? How do you talk to yourself when you're struggling? How do you show up for yourself when you're alone? The relationship with her is over. The relationship with yourself is just beginning. And that's the one that determines everything that follows. Understanding that she was a mirror, not a missing piece, changes everything. She reflected parts of you, the confident, the insecure, the loving, the fearful. Her presence activated certain traits. Her absence exposes others. She never completed you. She revealed where you were incomplete. Now you have the opportunity and the responsibility to do that work yourself. Through this, you'll redefine love itself. Love isn't need. Love isn't addiction. Love isn't clinging out of fear. Real love is choosing someone from a place of wholeness, not desperation. It's abundance, not scarcity. When you don't need someone but still choose them, that's love. Everything else is emotional dependency in disguise. The masculine frame rebuilds through resistance. Every urge resisted adds a brick. Every boundary held adds a wall of integrity. Every moment of silence adds structure. You're not just getting over her. You're building an internal fortress, not to close yourself off, but to ensure your foundation can't be shaken again. The death of the old self is necessary for rebirth. The version of you that needed her validation has to die. The version that feared abandonment has to die. The version that confused attachment with love has to die. It's painful, it's messy, it's necessary. Because only in that death does the real you emerge, the one who is self-sufficient, disciplined, grounded, and free. Recognition of patterns is what prevents repetition. You'll start seeing the same dynamics trying to resurface the same type of woman, same tests, the same emotional hooks. But now you recognize them. You'll think, I've been here before. I know this pattern. That awareness is power. The recognition is protection. Then the final test arrives when she eventually returns, because they often do. A text, a DM, an accidental encounter, that's when the truth reveals itself. Did you actually change? Or were you just waiting? Your response in that moment exposes everything. Do you crumble? Do you gloat? Or do you simply observe with calm neutrality? That's the real exam, and the only grade that matters is your own peace. The harsh truth becomes liberating. Society doesn't care about your heartbreak. Your ex doesn't care about your suffering. The world keeps spinning. And that's not depressing, that's empowering, because it means no one's coming to save you, which means you must save yourself. And you can. Building from zero is where real strength is born. When you've lost everything and rebuilt it, you carry an unshakable certainty. I can survive anything. You're not invincible because you can be hurt. You're invincible because you know hurt is survivable. That knowledge is strength beyond measure. Integration takes time, years, not months. You'll think you've healed, then face a trigger and stumble. You'll think you've moved on, then feel the ache return. That's not failure, it's process. Every stumble is refinement. Every setback is another repetition of emotional strength training. In the end, the truth about ignoring her is that it was never about her at all. It's about ignoring the weaker version of yourself that needed her. Silencing the voice that said you weren't enough alone. Turning away from external validation and returning to your own sovereignty. She was never the target. Your weakness was. Success isn't her return. Success is your indifference to whether she returns. When you can say it'd be nice if she came back, but I am complete either way. That's when you've won. Not the game with her, the game with yourself. And that's the only one that matters. Because every man who's walked this path, the brotherhood of the healed, knows the truth. We know the 3 a.m., battles with temptation, the shaking hands hovering over the phone, the fantasy conversations that never happen. And we know the freedom on the other side. Your mission now isn't to get her back. It's to become the man who doesn't need her back. To build a life so complete that her absence is barely a whisper. To develop strength so profound that future women don't complete you, they complement you. This was never about winning her. It was about winning yourself.